Allan. Al. Hey, what's up, dudes? Okay. I would text this, write this all out. I would go, we can converse this, but all right. So, first off, I want to show. Here's that sword. Yes, that is World War II. NCO. I gotta clean the blade still. I haven't. Where do you find time? Where do you find time? But I have a proposition because we've already done this. Whenever we're hanging out, I love the reaction and interaction and communication between you and your dad. And you both are military guys. So we're doing a film on it. Well, these are actual events. September 24th, 1983. You can search this up. It was when we were mutually assured that the Soviets were going to launch the nukes, but the people on the ground said no, and they still are dishonorably discharged and don't get any of their pensions and stuff for the fact that they saved the world. But anyways, so doing this from the perspective of the East Germans, because I have a bunch of that military. It's the same. Anyways, I digress. And I got the whole thing set. By the way, no, we're going to do the Italian realist school of filmmaking that happened in post-World War II, and France, and basically everywhere in the continental Europe, because they didn't have anything to work with. But so 1983 hits the hot button with everybody new wave. I mean, go listen to The Weeknd. It sounds like something out of a discotheque from 1983. But anyways, so I want you guys to play the general staff, the DLBA Walk Regiment that's right over at the base. You'll see the stuff. That's the Tekel. But I love the I mean, you don't have to put on I mean, we just play ourselves. And then all of a sudden the Soviets start clowning around and we're just like, what the hell? You know, okay, so first of all, I don't know if you've ever heard of a Charlie swap. Charlie swap. This is actually from a Volksmarine veteran who I've talked to. I bought a bunch of stuff. Actually, the sports badges are courtesy of Kevin. Oh, those badges are courtesy of Kevin too. There's a lot of things. Actually, a lot of. I can't even the subdued shoulder boards for one. That was his payment for not getting paid his full amount from the West German government after post-unification. After he had to serve another 3 years after his 3 years of mandatory conscription was up, and don't get him started. But I did. And anyways, I found out, so they had this thing called Charlie swaps. It's reference to Checkpoint Charlie. You would trade, you would exchange, you would barter, you would go to whatever. I mean, that was how you were a king. I mean, on both sides of the fence. And so that's actual. I mean, I'm not that clever. I don't have that much time to sit on my butt. But I think your rank was major, Al. And you're okay. Your guys' looks. I mean, it just, I don't know. And to capture that, and just being who you are. And plus, I thought of something. Actually, there's something that, talking to you, that we're talking about Adidas tracksuits and stuff, and how we liked them. And that the Soviets actually had tracksuits made with their little monikers. I can actually do up a facsimile, but because I was thinking, like, if you're the general, I would have you be the general. But a general's tunic is, even an East German one, you're looking at $4,000, $6,000 if you can even get it. There used to be ones on Gowan's site, and I don't know what it is like now. Gowan's gone, but I spent many a day talking his ear off on the phone when he was still in existence. If anyone, East German collectors, aficionados, you know who I'm talking about. It doesn't exist anymore. I have some of his information that he had on his website, but it's gone. You know? Welcome to the world of technology. Anyways, instead of, how do I get an original period? You know what? I thought of this. For your dad's ensemble, surprisingly easy. Easy going as he is. So just get an Adidas tracksuit. I've already done t-shirt making and stuff like that. I've used multimedia limitations. It comes into that. But I can make up like an East German symbol or a Soviet symbol or something, and then we can just put that on just a tracksuit if he has one, an Adidas one he wants to give up, or I could go find one, kind of like what you see in Rocky IV with the Soviet. They actually did have those. They're very expensive, I think. This was years ago. I was looking at one. I think it was like $1,600. It was just a top, and it was kind of ratty. It was worn by a Soviet athlete. It was they're curious, interesting. Capitalism, bougie hood capitalism on one side with the Adidas logo, and hammer and sickle and CC. It's hilarious. But anyways, So that would fill out his, and in fact, that's what gets my character up is that he's like, oh, he's reminded that the general was like, oh, they were geeking out just like we were doing in your dad's driveway, geeking out about how much we like Adidas track wear. We were, hey, you know what? Like at 13, we share a lineage of track athleticism. Um, but that would cover that. But for you, I have this tunic. I'm pretty sure it would fit you. I was thinking about it. I actually have a leather officer's belt because I know you like leather. So I was actually even thinking of the same way that I've helped you curate your collection. I'm helping curate your unique officer do. But you could use this belt if worse comes to worse, because like I said to people when I was talking about Soviet military, they had a peasant mentality as far as like, I mean, I know we've talked about this before. Like if you're in your dress blues in the U.S. Army, you're in your dress blues. You're not wearing half of one, uniform with another, swapping them around, like doing whatever. But in Soviet militaries, you could. You could wear a green hat with a white, formal dress tunic with a pair of, blue. I mean, as long as it just wasn't completely off the wall, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted, because it was just seen as formality. As they were working class, they weren't some bougie hood, but they're not here anymore. Anyway, but you could use this one, even though it is technically an enlisted belt. It's a field belt. It's just for everybody. In fact, even a lot of the film clippets of the East German Signal Corps footage that I got, original period footage for this project, to help fill in the gaps. It's kind of funny because there's a butter bar, I think, or no, maybe a second lieutenant. I don't know. He's an officer, but he's wearing an enlisted overseas cap with the little rondelle. And it almost looks like, because he's driving in the wind, it looks like it's a conscript one, not a career military one. I don't even know if the guy was actually, maybe it was just like some casting person was like, this is the beautiful Adonis that represents, like the chosen Nazi baby, for baby formula in Germany in the 30s. Turns out it was a Jewish German baby. And then Goebbels looked like the sickly dwarf he always was. Anyways, I would have this on your belt, because I know you like leather. This is a very rare, very, very, very rare. This is actually Stasi marked. So it's an actual Stasi one, but they don't know the mark is on the inside. But I know you like leather, so I thought, put that. But then I remembered because I was just going to use that belt. We could use that belt, worst comes to worst. A blue collared dress shirt, like a light blue, grayish blue, a charcoal black tie. I have a Soviet one somewhere. I was looking for it on Schultz over there, but it's gonzo. So, and it's elastic. It's crappy Soviet stuff. But so you could wear this, because I don't know if I have a visor hat that is, or you could just go without a hat. Shit, you don't even need to have a hat. You're one of the adjutants to the general staff of your dad. So, but anyways, this is that Danzig police helmet that I did on that Condor Legion shell, and the story that I was going to have worked out is that the sword. I went to Poland for at a Warsaw Pact military base for that for something, I don't know, whatever. But it's like, I was telling you about this in a previous, just like we do in real life. I was telling you about a previous thing, and you were like, oh, I'd love to have something from, blah. And so your dad was, or your grandpa in this scenario was a Luftwaffe pilot that fought in the Eastern Front. And same story, but just a different pair of buttons on a shirt. And so you're interested in Eastern Front Militaria, and I happened to be at a flea market in Poland while I'm there, a couple weeks before, and I found a Danzig police helmet that must have sat on a rack, or just miracle of God there, just missed it. And I get that for you, and we're geeking out about that, and your dad's tracksuit and stuff, and that's when the Soviet clowning stuff happens. But oh yeah, and then of course the sword. I'll say I picked that up from I don't know. I mean, this kind of stuff circulated too. The Russians were in, and the Russians they had primacy over. That's what's great about this. This is an East German made. So I know I kept it around for a reason. It's got this experimental mesh that the Germans use. In fact, I actually noticed at the gun show this weekend the pockets of some of my Stritch Tarn raindrop camo ones. The pockets, like you can see on this one, they're just the regular material, but on other ones they actually have this mesh material for the internal fabric. But this is and this is a giant one. Look at this. And it's great. I just had the other thing out, the East German one that's experimental mesh, but for basically it's like I'm answering a commander's call at the Wussdorf base or whatever, and September 24th, 1983. These events are real, so I didn't even make this up, but it's pretty wild when you really think about what should have happened that day and what didn't happen that day. So, oh, and pants, riding crops would probably be the ones that you would like the most. I was thinking leather belt or leather boots, but then you're a senior military officer. You have private purchase status, anyways, and then with you and your dad. Something else is because your dad was a football star. We have that Gauliga, soccer football, but we have that Gauliga jersey. So I was going to say in the context of it that he's like, oh, dude, check out. I told you guys I was going to dig this out one day. Blah blah blah, whatever. Pulls it out. This is my jersey back when I was lucky 13. And again, we're not making anything up. And that's your dad's actual story. We just are slightly and we're showing off an original period. It is a Gauliga, and be like, oh, what's that dirty bird over there? Oh, shit. We all had to. You couldn't get on the field and play if you didn't qualify for the national sports badge. That's what that means. Okay, it doesn't mean that they were a tiki torch bozo. It means that they played soccer, they played football, and they were good at it. And some schmo with a uniform, or not even a uniform, some bureaucrat bozo with a Gestapo chain link would come in and be like, I need to check all your players, make sure none of them are undesirables. Here's my little keychain in my pocket. Get out of my way. And it's like, so, but we can show that off. So that's another one. I don't have it out here. But, yeah. We'll have to talk more on this. But I just wanted to give you an overlay. You can see by the time I share this with you, I'll have the proletarian pilot, I don't know. I'll have the pilot thing. You can watch that. You can see kind of what I'm talking about because it's all coming together. But and we're going to get part of the Berlin Wall, bring that here. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. But at the end of the day, I just think you guys would be cool to have. I don't know. And like I said, just as we are. Like it's like, oh look, this is the definition, Kevin's definition of a Charlie swap, and he's an actual East German veteran. And like I said, pieces came from this, and the Ostvolk are still genuinely disenfranchised in this country that was supposed to be all awesome and cool. And basically, they live in the ghettos and the Westies. Ostvolk even. If you don't even know what Ostvolk is, it's kind of a two-sided word. It's almost like the N word here. When people who are Westies use it, it's a derogatory term. It's like with the hard R. Whereas, people who grew up in East Germany, who lived in East Germany, who experienced these, or who are generations afterward that are still experiencing inequity and inequality in their country because of their lineage. It's kind of a term of endearment. It's like when Snoop Dogg drops it in a hit tune with Be Real featured on the side. It's like he's not saying your name ain't Toby, it's Ubuntu. He's saying roll up this blunt and smoke it and hit it with me. But Ostvolk means like East people, and it meant something very different in World War II actually, which is interesting. That's another day. Anyways, I gotta go get Wonder Plant. I gotta run some errands, but I wanted to at least put this out there into the ether and get something going. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good time. Peace.